Spiritual gumbo. That which is clean. I don't know how to say it, but this is one of my favorite books in the. I mean, like so you have like what you like the most, you know. But this is really one of my favorite parts in the book of the Leviticus because it talks about touching things unclean, um, and how you're supposed to pretty much go about that whole process. Um, Give me one moment though. See, we were just talking about in this last part sin offerings, right? For the people, for the rulers of the land, for the priest, and how each one of them has to sacrifice differently, right? And the people, so for example, let's say the whole people sin as opposed to one person of the people, right? There's a different way, and the priest have as much clout or weight, like their level of responsibility is so great that if they sin, they have to sacrifice what it would be like for the congregation. And when you do the sin offerings, you still burn off all the fat and all that, but what you don't do is they don't partake in any of that. You don't eat any of that, you see, and they burn it all. And I haven't said that. Um, where is it at? Verse 1 of chapter 5 we're at now. And we're going to read maybe, I don't know, yeah, we'll probably read 2 chapters because this chapter's pretty short. We'll read 5 and, yeah, we'll read 5 and 6. It's all good. So here we are. Remember, all this is about sacrifice. Sacrifice is mainly cooking. For the most part, there's different mechanisms you can use to pretty much achieve sacrifice, and and some of these different ways of doing it, like cooking in a pan or in a skillet, right? You know, or like using what's known as an oven, right? You know, I'm talking about like things like that, or putting it on the fire for the priest to actually sacrifice to the Most High God. Like there's different ways, and there's different things that are used to achieve sacrifice. You know, if you read it carefully, when they bring of grain or vegetables or anything like that, that's all supposed to be stuff that's sautéed, you know. Um, so, you know, I mean, like the whole process is really cooking. But this is getting to verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and he is a witness or has seen or been conscious, which is pretty much there and aware of it, right? If he do not report it, he shall bear his iniquity. That soul which shall touch anything unclean, any unclean thing, or carcass, or that which is unclean being taken of beast, or the dead bodies of abominable reptiles, which are unclean, or carcasses of unclean cattle, or should touch the uncleanness of a man, or whatever kind, which he may touch and be defiled by, and it should have escaped him, but afterwards he should know, then he shall have transgressed. That unrighteous soul which determines with his lips to do evil or to do good, according to whatsoever a man may determine with an oath, and it shall have escaped his notice, and he shall afterwards know it. And so he should sin in some of these things. Then shall he declare his sin in the things wherein he has sinned by that sin. And he shall bring for his transgressions against the Lord for his sin which he have sinned, an ewe lamb of the flock, or a kid of the goats, for a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him, for his sin which he has sinned, and his sin shall be forgiven him. Now stop right there. What it's trying to say is this. What I understand is that, let's say you're doing something, right? And it touches both. It says to the person who's unaware and the person who is aware, well, you're both, the way I'm seeing it is that in one of the situations, you don't know that you messed up until afterwards. And it's the unrighteous soul, excuse me. It's the second one, right? So and pretty much what it is that in either one of these instances, it's saying, so like, look, whether you know right or wrong, because you have people who were going to do evil things, right? Like I said, evil proceeds from their lips. What they're doing is this, though. I'm going to give you guys a really beautiful example. Okay, so a cat is working one day, right, in the field. There's two servants, right? And he sees a dead I don't know, lizard or something like that a bull has trampled, right? He's working. He doesn't even think about it. He just grabs and throws the carcass just clearly out the way of his work. Doesn't think about it, right? Knows he shouldn't have done that, though. He knows he's not supposed to touch that. But he done that. Now, what it's saying is that he's consciously aware of this, and he knows it, right? But let's just say, like, you forget, right? It just leaves your mind. See, because that's what it means to be conscious. Like, it's presently available in your brain. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not on your mind. It's on your mind. Yeah. So you have a situation where a person knows better and is sinning, and then another person who, whether they know, it's not whether they know better or not, it's their approaches. They may do good, they may do evil, right? But the thing is so now I'm in the field. I know I threw this little dead lizard earlier, and I touched it, and now the food is ready. I know I really, technically, right, and I touch the food with my hands and all this, and I do all this, right? Now let's say nobody gets sick, but it comes to me later, and I let the priest know, or maybe people do get sick, and I let the priest know, right? So then I have to bring what is proper, the ewe lamb, the female, or the kid goat, right on. I have to bring one of them for sacrifice, so that way I can make atonement. And he says, and their sin is going to be forgiven them, even if they do it mindfully. Now here's the next part. One moment. And if he cannot afford, and I'm sorry, I get so far ahead of you guys in this stuff. You know what I mean? Because I've read the chapters. You know, so we're a few verses out from the unconscious person, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. And if he cannot afford a sheep, he shall bring for his sin, which he has sinned, 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the Lord for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And so now we're going to talk about the people who has money, who doesn't. Clearly the person who, in this first one, is somebody who has normal means. If they can't afford the sheeps, right, or a goat, right, then check this out. 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for the sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring them to the priest, and the priest shall bring the sin offering first. And the priest shall pinch off the head from the neck, and shall not divide the body. And he shall sprinkle the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar. But the rest of the blood he shall drop at the foot of the altar, for it is a sin offering. And he shall make the second a whole burnt offering, as it is fit. And the priest shall make atonement for him which he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. Verse 11, so if the person's even more poor than that, and if he cannot afford a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he shall bring as his gift for his sin the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall not pour oil upon it, nor shall he put frankincense upon it, because it is a sin offering. And he shall bring it to the priest. And the priest, having taken a handful of it, shall lay the memorial of it on the altar of the whole burnt offerings to the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him, for his sin, which he have sinned in one of these things. And it shall be forgiven him. And that which is left shall be the priest, an offering of fine flour. Stop right there. This is verse 14 we're about to go into, so-called unconscious person, right? I want y'all to get this. The conscious person either knows, like, you can know that you're doing something wrong, but then forget. Like, people do messed up stuff all the time, and they put it out their mind, and then later on it'll come back to them, right? So I touched this nasty dead lizard while I'm working in the field. Bro seen it. Let's say I said something or I swore or whatever, right? You see what I'm saying? You can make up an instance and then apply the information to it and apply why the person would have to do this. And then also look at the fact that if a person can't afford a lamb or a sheep or whatever, right? They're probably poor. If they really can't afford no turtle doves or no pigeons, they're even more poor. You see what I'm saying? So when you have to sacrifice a flower, that says to the level of dividend you have normally. You see what I'm talking about? Because it's telling you what to bring if you have it. Come on. Or substance, not dividend, excuse me. Verse 14. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the soul which shall be really unconscious and shall sin unwillingly in any of the holy things of the Lord shall even bring to the Lord for his transgression a ram of the flock without blemish, valued according to the shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, for his transgression wherein he transgressed. And he shall make compensation for that wherein he sinned in the holy things. And he shall add the fifth part to it, and give it to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of transgression, and his sin shall be forgiven him. And the soul which shall sin and do one thing against any of the commandments of the Lord, which it is not right to do, and has not known it, and shall have transgressed, and shall have contracted guilt, he shall even bring a ram without blemish from the flock, valued at a price of the silver for his transgression, to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for his trespass of ignorance, wherein he ignorantly trespassed, and he knew it not, and it shall be forgiven him. For he has surely been guilty of transgression before the Lord. Now stop right there before we go into the next chapter, chapter 6. Do y'all see how that played out right there? How if they're what I think this is really talking about is virgins, women, right on, and it's speaking on like, okay, so you didn't know that this was this, like, so like it's a sin of ignorance, because I just can't think of, like, how could you not consciously understand me? What is being asked for is even greater. It's a ram. There is no, and in this one there is no if you're broke. It's just this is what it is. And the fifth part, and it's talking about at the value of the silver. So I'm like, what would that be? Right on? Like a dude, I don't know, goes and lays down with somebody's virgin daughter, right? Didn't know that this was this guy's daughter, right? Only because you didn't know, you shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, but only really because you didn't know you done so. Now you're like, okay, I got to get the money right. You see what I'm saying? And you see how you have to bring the fifth part extra to the priest, because they're going to get their piece too. See what I'm saying? You have to make sure that the house of God is going to be maintained properly and righteously. And having said that, this can't be the only instance, but it's the first thing that jumped into my mind when I read it. I was like, man, a ram? What did they do? Like what did they really do though? Because it's unconsciously, right? It says right here, just listen to how it says. The soul which shall be really unconscious and shall sin unwillingly in any of the holy things of the Lord, right? So I didn't willfully defile this dude's daughter. Like, I didn't know that she was, like, because that might not have been discussed. Right on? What if this is a person who just doesn't know the laws, hasn't been, see what I'm saying? And then maybe later on it gets brought to them like, yo, what you did was wrong. Or it just comes into their mind that they can think and they can imagine, would I want somebody doing that to me or to mines? No. The fact that the ram is the one that has to pay for this, the ram of transgression. I'm just thinking about it, people. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm just telling you guys what I believe, an instance, a legitimate one. And I won't say every single little thing I thought about, but that's one of the ones I for sure was like, I'm pretty sure they're talking about dudes doing foul stuff to people's daughters and being like, oh, I messed up, you know. Because, you know, the sin of adultery is death. See what I'm talking about? That's the punishment for it. There is no making right for that. But to fornicate with someone's unmarried daughter, right, is a little different. Still sin. You see what I mean? Right. And if you don't know better, see once again, or if once again, are they totally overwhelmed by the moment that they're just not aware that what they're doing is wrong because they can't tell. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was trying to like figure out. Like is like there must be like some type of heightened emotional situation that would make you unaware, not conscious of what's going on. You know, like blacking out or something like that. But I would just think to just be, you know, like somebody who's involved in like or is trying to be intimate with somebody, they're not even thinking about certain stuff. So I took it there just so that way I could make it make sense when I presented it to the people. However, now here we go. Verse 1 of chapter 6. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, the soul which shall have sinned and willfully overlook the commandments of the Lord, and shall have dealt falsely in the affairs of his neighbors, in the matter of a deposit, or concerning fellowship, or concerning plunder, or has in anything wronged his neighbor, or has found that which was lost, and shall have lied concerning it, and shall have sworn unjustly concerning any one of all the things whatsoever a man may do, so as to sin hereby, it shall come to pass, whensoever he shall have sinned and transgressed, that he shall restore the plunder which he has seized, or redress the injury which he has committed, or restore the deposit which was entrusted to him, or the lost article which he has found of any kind or thing, about which he swore unjustly. He shall even restore it in full, and he shall add to it a fifth part besides. He shall restore it to him whose it is in the day in which he happens to be convicted. Stop right there. Did it say you're going to have to wait 6 months to a year for justice? No. The moment people, when it's found out that you did it, when the moment we can put it together that you done that, that's when we put it. That's when justice happens. And note, this is a person who's cognitively aware of what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose. That's what I was trying to say with the other two. Like what this is like, a person may know that what they're doing is wrong, but they may not be doing something that's as dishonest as what this person is trying to achieve, because they're looking to be dishonest, right? And it said in the last part where, like, if you hear somebody swear, right, you know, right, you see what I'm talking about? You see how it's covering itself? And so pretty much, let's say a person heard somebody swear but didn't recognize, like, oh, he was talking about that, right? Or maybe they did realize and they just didn't think about it, right? They just didn't care. You see what I'm saying? It didn't bother them. There's all different types of ways you could take that and put that in your mind. But what you really need to get is that in those instances, it can be assumed or inferred that the individual at some point was not aware of what they were doing. In this instance, no matter what it is, the individual willfully has done so, and they're doing they're trying to not get caught in the act. You get what I'm saying? All right, now here we are. And it says that, what did it say? It said, he shall restore it to him whose it is in the day in which he happens to be convicted. Right. So does it give a time period? No, but clearly you don't have to wait for justice. And he shall bring to the Lord for his trespass a ram of the flock without blemish, of the value of the amount of the thing in which he trespassed. See, it's not the silver now. So it's whatever you trespass, dog, you have to bring a ram of that same value. Come on. Come on. So you can't just bring me a ram without blemish that you really don't care about, dog. You have to. So if this is something that I care near and dear about, you have to bring one of these rams that you care near and dear about, that, you know, you give extra bread to and stuff like that. That's the ram I want. Going forth. Verse 6. And the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord, and he shall be forgiven for any one of all the things which he did and trespassed in it. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Charge Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of whole burnt offerings. This is the whole burnt offering in its burning on the altar all the night till the morning. And the fire of the altar shall burn on it. It shall not be put out. And the priest shall put on linen tunic, and he shall put the linen drawers on his body, and shall take away that which has been thoroughly burnt, which the fire shall have consumed, even the whole burnt offering from the altar, and he shall put it near the altar. And he shall put off his robe and put on another robe, and he shall take forth the offering that has been burnt without the camp into a clean place. And the fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it, and shall not be extinguished. And the priest shall burn on it wood every morning, and shall heap on it the whole burnt offering, and shall lay on it the fat of the peace offering. And the fire always shall burn on the altar. It shall not be extinguished. This is the law of the sacrifice, which the sons of Aaron shall bring near before the Lord, before the altar. Stop right there. So note that it's saying right now that this fire is never to be put out. That even when you're taking my burnt offering up off this joint, that's been burnt to a crisp, out to the clean place, right? Normally where the ashes are at, you will not put the fire out. And every morning you're gonna put more wood down, so that way you can put down my sacrifices, so that way you can put down my peace offerings. Come on, man, the Most High is letting it be known. He's telling people what he wants, what he desires, what he saw as righteous. Let us go forth, please. Verse 13, no. Verse 14, and this is the law of the sacrifice, which the sons of Aaron shall bring near before the Lord, before the altar. Verse 15, and he shall take from it a handful of fine flour of the sacrifice with its oil and with all its frankincense, which is upon the sacrifice. And he shall offer up on the altar a burnt offering as a sweet smelling savor, a memorial of it to the Lord. And Aaron and his sons shall eat that which is left of it, and it shall be eaten without leaven in a holy place. They shall eat it in the court of the tabernacle of witness. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as a portion to them of the burnt offerings of the Lord. It is most holy, as the offering for sin, and as the offering for trespass. Every male of the priest shall eat it. It is a perpetual ordinance throughout your generations of the burnt offerings of the Lord. Whosoever shall touch them shall be hallowed. Stop right there. So no person is going to actually touch those parts, those portions that are actually made, that are being left for the priest, because the Most High is demanding this. Nobody but a hallowed person is actually going to get to eat that. Can you dig that? Having said that also, this is a perpetual ordinance forever. So when I say this, I mean no disrespect, but it would be hard for me to believe that a person who's, let's say, like allergic to like red meat, right? And there's black people like that. I have a hard time believing that that person could have been, well, there's no way they could be a full Levite, right? I mean, you're allergic to, your body can't even withstand something that the Most High God has told for the priest would have to eat. Not speaking to any other tribes, but I'm just going to say that people are going to eat things, right? But the liver, the kidneys, right? The heart of an animal, stuff like that, right? You know, stomach, all those types of things are like delicacies. You see what I'm saying? And they were entreated to have these things over the people. That's the blessing. But once again, though, you would have to have the genetic constitution to be able to withhold that. See what I'm saying? Going forward. Where are we at? Verse 19. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, This is the gift of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer to the Lord in the day in which thou shalt anoint him. The tenth of an ephah of fine flour for a sacrifice continually. The half of it in the morning, and the half of it in the evening. It shall be made with an oil. It shall be made with oil. Listen, it shall be made with oil in a frying pan. Can you dig it? He shall offer it kneaded and rolled or in rolls of an offering of fragments, an offering of sweet savor unto the Lord. So this is how you would take the oil. So you would take it, the flour, and he's saying that you're pretty much frying flatbread in one instance, and then almost say like falafel, but almost like a real. I mean, I've tried to make it already a couple times. It's almost like it's really, I don't know how to put it. It's like a cracker and like bread. It's really unique, and I haven't mastered it yet, but I will. And it didn't taste gnarly. It just wasn't what I wanted. But I'm like, I'm gonna get it. Anyway, that's a frying pan. Right on. This is the bread, I'm pretty sure, right? It shall be made with oil in a frying pan. He shall offer it kneaded and in rolls or rolled, an offering of fragments, an offering of sweet savor unto the Lord. The anointed priest who is in his place, one of his sons shall offer it. It is a perpetual statute. It shall be consumed. And every sacrifice of a priest shall be thoroughly burnt and shall not be eaten. Listen. And every sacrifice of a priest shall be thoroughly burnt and shall not be eaten. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where they slay the whole burnt offering, they shall slay the sin offering before the Lord. They are most holy. Stop right there. So it was a precursor saying that, just in case y'all didn't get it, it shall not be eaten because this is a sin offering. Right on. And it's just, excuse me, we've got about 14 more verses. And it's just letting the people know he's telling Moses that they're going to tell the priest this. But he's saying, like, look, when you guys do it, this is how I want y'all to do it. Right? And when you guys you're never going to eat, like, the peace offerings that, that have the whole burnt offering with it, right? He's saying that you're never going to eat that food with leavened bread. You're always going to roll it out, right? And I'm going to assume cut off little pieces and they fry it down. Okay? Sounds pretty good to me. Anyway, almost like a cracker or something like that. What else? And this is more directive to the priest too. I wanted to point that out, how this is more directive. This in particular piece is more directive to the priest than other pieces. Well, than the last piece we just read, I should say. That's what I mean to say. Excuse me. And every sacrifice of a priest shall be thoroughly burnt and shall not be eaten. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where they shall slay the whole burnt offering, they shall slay the sin offering before the Lord. So the sin offering and the whole burnt offering will get killed in the same place. They are most holy. Verse 26. The priest that offers it shall eat it. In a holy place it shall be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of witness. Everyone that touches the flesh of it shall be holy. And on whosoever garment any of its blood shall have been sprinkled, whosoever shall have sprinkled it shall be washed in the holy place. And the earthen vessel whichsoever it shall have sodden shall be broken. And if it shall be sodden in a brazen vessel, he shall scour it and wash it with water. Every male among the priests shall eat it. it is most holy to the Lord. See, once again, this is the difference between the whole burnt offering and a sin offering. And the Most High, once again, he expects them to know what he's talking about. He expects them to know, like, yo, if you're not eating a sin offering, you're eating the whole burnt one. Right on? You see what I'm saying? And this is how I know that the food was well done. Thank you very much. Come on. Because you have to burn it to the degree. You see what I'm saying? But the Most High God is like, cuz, yeah, you're cooking this stuff all the way through, dog. Not saying that they were eating burnt meat all the time, but they were eating more crispy, more cooked meat than, you know, like how some people like it because it's roasted with fire. Like, that's bomb, you know. But if you don't like that, then you don't like that. But I ain't gonna put that on nobody. We're just gonna go forward. Did y'all catch how if the blood touches their clothes, they have to wash? You catch how if it falls in an earthen vessel, you have to break the vessel. But if it's a brazen one, you have to scour it, which is clean it out, and then wash it with water. You know what I'm saying? Every male of the priest shall eat it. Verse 29. It is most holy to the Lord. And no offerings for sin of whose blood there shall be brought any into the tabernacle of witness to make atonement in this place shall be eaten. They shall be burned with fire. So anything that's meant as a sin offering, you're not going to eat it. Come on. And this is the law of the ram for the trespass offering. It is most holy. The place where they slay the whole burnt offering, they shall slay the ram of the trespass offering before the Lord. And he shall pour out the blood at the bottom of the altar round about. And he shall offer all the fat from it, and the loins, and the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, that which is upon the thighs, and the caul of the liver with the kidney. And he shall take them away. And the priest shall offer them on the altar, a burnt offering to the Lord. It is for trespass. Every male of the priest shall eat them in the holy place. They shall eat them. They are most holy. As the sin offering, so also is the trespass offering. There is one law to them. The priest who shall make atonement with it, his it shall be. And as for the priest who offer a man's whole burnt offering, the skin of the whole burnt offering which he offers shall be his. And every sacrifice which shall be prepared in the oven, and every one which shall be prepared on the hearth, or on a frying pan, or on a frying pan, it is the property of the priest that offers it. It shall be his. And every sacrifice made up with oil or not made with oil shall belong to the sons of Aaron, an equal portion to each. We're not going to read the peace offering law. I'm going to stop right there. That's the end of that. Coming into chapter 7. And we're just going to steamroll through the book of Leviticus. No, y'all. Did you guys see how the trespass offering, they get to eat, but not the sin offering? But they're saying that whoever takes it that's who's responsible for it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'll read to you so that way nobody gets it confused. You know, every male of the priest shall eat them. In the holy place they shall eat them. They are most holy. As for the sin offering, this is verse 37, so also is the trespass offering. There is one law of them. The priest who shall make atonement with it, his it shall be. So all of a sudden, what it's trying to say is that you can't just try to boss hog out of nowhere, right on, like, oh, I'm taking that. No, you're not. You know what I'm saying? Whoever did the sacrifice, that's theirs. So fall back. And it's the same thing. So it's like, it's on them, just like it's on you. When the sin offering is all the way burnt to go out there and to get rid of it, that's on you to get rid of that corpse. Once again, this is also on you to make sure that that's you, right on? You divvy out those portions. You choose who gets what. They don't get to just, oh, I'm going to take that. No. You see how the Most High God works? It's like he knows how people operate. So he puts in protectionary measures. So if you go against the protectionary measures, you really are trying to do the wrong thing. Really. However, I know I'm just one person. I'm just one man. People are going to have their own minds to all these things. Um, I'd rather you guys read it again and get your own understanding. I like to read it out loud. I enjoy reading it out loud. I got to read. Uh, I think I'm only like a couple chapters ahead right now. I got to get a few more chapters up. Then I'll put a few more out, and we'll keep it pushing like that. Hey y'all, it's always an honor. It's always a blessing. I appreciate y'all for your time. I love you, brothers and sisters. I salute you. Spiritual Gumbo.